Becky,
God.
welcome to my channel. I ran across Becky as one of the suggested videos to watch after mine. And I was like, who is this woman talking about leaving the religion and so open and honest about her experience? Then I saw she has tons of fitness videos, which is my background. And then her TikTok is like 300 plus thousand. He has a massive following on Facebook, has a massive following on Instagram, has a big following on YouTube as a fitness instructor. Look, this woman is on fire. I need to bring her to my channel and share her experience as a Jehovah's Witness because I loved how open and vulnerable you are, even though that's not your background at all.
Mm.
And I would love to hear how you got the courage to share that in such a massive community, or yeah, your community. If you can talk to us about how the Jehovah's Witnesses came into your life, what was the starting of it all, and then your experience as a Jehovah's Witness. And as I said before, there might be places where I might be like, can you elaborate? And we will just take it from there. So I will hand the mic over to you, Becky.
First of all, thank you for having me, Vivian. And you are doing amazing things as well. So thank you for offering me the opportunity to speak about this.
Thank you.
You asked, uh, I was born into the religion. So I'm the youngest of 7 kids. And both my parents, they chose the religion around like young, 13, 14, 15. And that was their parents getting into it. So studying and getting into it, and then they got into it. So, oh my goodness, the stories. Okay, so I was born into it, but from a very young age, it never sat right. It never felt right to me. I remember being really young, and again, I'm the youngest of 7. And so a couple of my older brothers got disfellowshipped. And I'm young, like some of them are 8, 15, 17, 21 years older than me. So here, a couple of them are getting disfellowshipped. I'm this young little girl, and I'm like unable to go and hug my big brother. I'm unable to, spend time with them. We can't have them over for a meal. One of my older brothers was disfellowshipped for 10 years, and he had a wife outside of the religion we'd never met. He had babies we never got to meet until he decided to come back to the religion. So as a young girl, I was like, this isn't right. This isn't how love is supposed to be. And I remember hearing it over and over at the meetings. Disfellowshipping is a loving provision, and looking up at my parents like, how does this sound loving to anybody? I'm looking around the congregation like, really, you all believe that? So that never sat right to me. Shunning and the public reproving talks, public marking talks. Again, this felt like bullying. This is not how we should treat our friends or our family members. So red flag there. The constant fear that I feel is imposed at meetings, constant talk of Satan, constant talk of the demons. From being a young child, it was just constantly the fear of Armageddon. And, watching the news, my parents had the news on, and every time, there's this storm or this flooding or this earthquake or this tsunami, this war is happening. And as a child growing up thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be Armageddon, and hearing that chatter at meetings, at service groups, in my own family, oh, we better get ready for Armageddon. And my mom, we always had this pantry that was filled in case Armageddon hit. For the last days, it was filled with all the canned goods and the pasta and the beans and the peanut butter jar, and just always being on guard that it could be the end of the world, Not a nice way to grow up. Mm-hmm.
That is quite the story. So, how old were you at this point when all of this happened? And did you end up getting baptized?
Yeah, I did. So this is my whole growing up years. I got baptized at 16 years of age, and it was kind of, everyone else was doing it. And the your options are A, you stay in it even though you disagree with it, or B, what is your option as a teenager? Where am I gonna, sorry, where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do if I'm not going along with the rest of my family? You can't do that as a Jehovah's Witness. You can't just say, I don't want to do this anymore, because then you are shunned, disowned. So I thought, I guess I'll just go along with this. I'll just, keep my head
I'm
down. And
I'm curious, when you got baptized when you were 16, I know you said one of your brothers was disfellowship for 10 years. Was he disfellowship during that time that you got baptized? And
no.
was that okay?
So one of my brothers was before I got baptized, and another was after. So no, I got baptized right in the middle of all that. And so I got baptized at 16, and that was, May. I got baptized, I got my driver's license, and I pioneered for the first time. So crazy. But at 17, I ended up meeting my husband, and we were at a convention. So we met each other, and he was an attendant, and we ended up getting married a year later. So he proposed to me 6 months after we'd met, and we were married another 6 months after that. So quick engagement, quick getting married. So I was 18, he was 20, which is also very normal in the Jehovah's Witness religion to get married young, as you're not allowed to have sex before marriage. So to prevent fornication, you get married. So we got married. We had our children in our 20s. So Georgia will be 20, Daisy is almost 17, and Sophie's almost 14. So I'm doing everything, going to the meetings, I'm raising my children, we're going in service, we're doing all this stuff, going to the conventions, the memorial. But I found, as being young parents, the schedule was so nonstop, like I say, all consuming. Jay would go to work, and he'd come home, and he'd rush home, and I'd have to have dinner on the table, and then we'd have to eat quickly, get out to the meeting. And this is Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, Saturday morning service, Sunday morning meeting. And like, there's so little downtime to just be a family, just to relax, just to enjoy a glass of wine together, put the kids to bed, watch a good movie, whatever. So that was always a thing where we were constantly rushing, which made Jay and I argue. He's like, why aren't we on time? You got to be on time for the meeting. And there's these 3 little girls who hate wearing tights, and they hate, they just want to go to bed. It's 9:30 p.m. and we're still driving back from the meeting, and they're tired and they're hungry, and they just want to play, or be in bed and go to sleep. So it was this constant, just kind of like all consuming life that I wasn't enjoying. We go to the meetings, I didn't feel like it was an enjoyable space. I'm in the mother's room for half the time, trying to keep the kids quiet, because heaven forbid they talk or make noise and everybody turns around and they're looking at you. I felt all the while being very judged, like I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't in service enough. I wasn't, dressing as modestly as I should. So not being super happy, just going about still my life as being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. My husband bought me a 1-month pass to a fitness studio. And this was my late 20s. The girls were all very little. And he said, you know what, I'm going to come home from work, and not on our meeting nights. Why don't you go to the fitness studio and get a workout in? He knew that I wanted to, like, it was something I needed something. So I started going to this fitness studio Monday, Wednesday, Friday evenings. And oh my God, it was like a light switch had turned on. It was like all this energy and the music and fun, and so opposite from what meetings are, and all these supportive, fun women and people there. So my 1 month ends, and I'm like, Jay, I want to keep going. Like, this is so fun. And so long story short, the owner of the gym said, Becky, you're so passionate about this. You need to go get certified. I'll hire you to work at this gym. And so I talked to Jay about it, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. Go ahead. So I went and got certified in all different areas of fitness, Zumba and spin, and I got my personal training and group training certificate, and then Kangoo dance. Just having a blast learning, and it was like a passion that I'd had from a young child, but was always, it was like if you had a candle and it was lit, it was kind of like that dream was always being put out. No, focus on being, you want to be a pioneer, you want to be a good wife, you want to be a good mom. So at the same time, I'm homeschooling, studying to become a fitness trainer. And I got a job as a fitness trainer and loved it. Everything was going really well. But I wasn't getting any kind of support from people at the congregation or my family. They were like, uh-oh, what's she doing? You know, this isn't a good thing. Well, the owner of the gym decides she's going to close her gym, and because she was ready to have children. Her name's Samantha. She's awesome. So she decides she's going to close her gym. Meanwhile, I'm just getting started. I'm like, oh my gosh, my passion is lit. And so I went to her and I said, would it be okay if I started my own fitness studio? I don't want to step on your toes. And she said, Becky, my goodness, go do it. Yes, for sure. She gave me her blessing. Talked to Jay about it, and he's, let's do it. So he was all amazing. He's always been so supportive. So I'm homeschooling the 3 girls. I start this little fitness studio from home, and still being a witness, right? Still doing my best to keep getting to the meetings, doing what I'm supposed to be doing, going in service, even though I'm not enjoying it. Just do it. Well, I'm doing this fitness training, and we were about to go on a family vacation. So I posted some videos. I took some video of our workouts and I put them on, I think it was Facebook and YouTube at the time. And then I just put them up there for my clients. I was like, okay, I'm going to be away for a couple weeks, so here's some workouts you can do at home. Well, I'm not on my phone while we're on vacation, but when I come home, all of a sudden this little Facebook page, I had like 200 followers, exploded. So those little videos that I posted for my clients, other people saw. They went crazy viral, and I just started responding to all the comments. I was like, okay, yeah, this is where you can get, it was Kangoo jump, so Kangoo dance, these things. So that was our most popular fitness class. And so
what year was this?
This would be around 2013, 2014-ish. So people are saying, where can I get these boots? Now, keep in mind, I'm not making a cent. I'm not sponsored by the company or anything. I'm just like staying up till like 1, 2 in the morning responding to these comments because I just want to help these people. That's, I think most fitness trainers, you get into the business to help people, right? So I'm answering all the questions. Where can you get them? What are the benefits? And the page, our Facebook page and our YouTube would just keep growing and growing and growing. And so the Jehovah's Witnesses, the elders, are seeing that this little fitness studio is now becoming bigger and bigger, and might be maybe taking my time away from the meetings. You know, like they get this fear, like what's happening next. Even my parents were like, well, Becky, you don't want to get too big. You don't want to get too, you know, definitely not famous or anything like that. And that was never a fear of mine. I'm like, you don't just get famous overnight from a fitness video or something. But so just tone it down, constantly be told, just tone it down. Don't put yourself out there so much. But I'm like, this is so fun and people are having fun and I want to share that. So that was, you know, 2014, 2015, our fitness studio's growing. We ended up building a little bit bigger of a gym, but all the while still going to my meetings, still wearing the long dresses, still going in service. 2017 rolls around and I get an email one morning and it says, apply to be Miss Health and Fitness. And I read the write-up and it's like, out of 1,000 women, apply to be Miss Health and Fitness. And I read it and I was like, there's not a chance I'll win. So I deleted the email. The very next day, the same email came again. It said, apply to be Miss Health and Fitness. So I was like, you know what? Sure, let's just do it for fun. So I enter, and it's an online voting contest. So 1,000 women worldwide. Well, all those people that I had spent hours and hours responding to about these and about fitness for free. I never asked a cent, you know, how do I lose weight? I would stay up for hours responding, just giving them free advice. Well, all those people I had helped for free, all of a sudden I put out, I was like, hey, if anybody can vote, I'm in this competition. Well, everybody starts voting. And it's a Facebook voting competition. Well, anyways, long story short, it went on for a few months and I ended up placing in the top 3 out of 1,000 women. Most families would be so supportive and so happy and so proud that their daughter accomplished this. And all the while, these votes, my family wouldn't vote for me. So they were like, no, we're not voting. So, or the Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm not going to vote for you. No, this is not okay. This is. So to win top 3, even without the support of the congregation and even without the support of my very large family, was like extra amazing. And the whole while I tried to show fit and strong, not sexy. So I tried to, when we did photo shoots and things and posted pictures, I tried to show strong, like, you know, yes, I was in a sports bra and I was in shorts, but I wasn't doing these provocative poses. It was like trying to show like strong. Well, the elders were definitely starting to have more and more meetings with me. Like this was not okay. My clothing choices, they would say it's not appropriate what I was wearing. So we'd have these elders meetings. Jay and I would go in, my husband and I, and they'd say, Becky, your clothing is not appropriate. And my husband would say, her clothing is appropriate for working out. She doesn't wear that to the meeting. She wears a dress to the meeting as she's asked to, but in a gym setting, in a fitness setting, she wears shorts and a sports bra. And my husband goes, may I ask when you work out what you wear? Like they work out, right? So they were getting more and more frustrated that Jay was not putting my fire out, that he was having my back. One elder told my husband that he should take my social media away because they didn't like what I was posting. So they said, you should take her social media away. That's what I would do if it were my wife's. And Jay's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So all the while I'm doing now photo shoots, and I ended up getting sponsored by a supplement company called Magnum. And so now I'm traveling. They're paying me to go to like Las Vegas and Ohio to do these Arnold Classics and the Joe Weider Olympia. And it's amazing. Like I'm having so much fun and I'm not doing anything wrong. Like the most of the time, if I had downtime, I'm talking to my children. I'm talking to my husband. I'm experiencing new things, but at the same time, being a good Christian woman. Anyway, Jay's fully supportive. The girls are supportive, still getting to our meetings, still going in service, still running my gym. And I'm probably skipping some things, but these elder meetings weren't really going anywhere. And they're now bothering Jay about his hair. Your hair is too short. It looks like it's a military style. We would be invited as a family to go to the beach as a congregation get together. And they would say to Jay, they'd go to Jay and they say, you know, your family can come, but only if Becky has a one piece. She has to wear a one piece to the beach. And Jay goes, she doesn't own a one piece. And I don't tell my wife what to wear. I would have sisters showing up at my door with Watchtower printouts and their Bible to talk about my high heels, that my shoes, my like just I don't have one near me, but a high heel that I would wear to the meeting, a black stiletto, let's say, that it was inappropriate. And I'm just like, I'm still going to the meetings, but it's really, really, really getting more and more frustrating, right? So I even have a study at this point, which, if you know, that means like you go knocking at people's doors and you preach long enough that you can get them into a study. Okay, so we're at that point. Like, I'm doing everything I can. We get to the meeting one night and we sit down, my 3 daughters, my study, myself, and my husband. We're sitting there, and the brother gets up on the platform and he says, okay, tonight we have to talk about someone in our congregation who is putting fitness ahead of Jehovah. And I looked at my husband like, there's no one else in our congregation, obviously, who is putting fitness ahead of Jehovah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I realize what's about to happen. So he stands up there and he says, and she's posting things on her social media that are stumbling others, her desire and obsession for fame. And so he's going on and on. And I just wish I could go back in time and stand up and be like, what are you doing? I'm right here. First of all, use my name. Use my name. Say my name, right? Like, we all know who you're talking about. I just wish I would have done that, stood up or walked out or been like, we're done. But anyway, they went on, you know, it was like a local needs, public reproving, shaming, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it public marking talk in front of the entire congregation. And so then I just shaking my head, like, here I am doing everything I can to stay in this religion for my parents, for my siblings, for my friends, because I know if I leave, what I have to lose. So we keep going to meetings. Even after the public marking talk, we're still going to meetings, but no one's talking to me. They pretty much, it's like if I were put in the corner, you know, like no one's looking at me, no one's talking to me. I really had done nothing wrong. I hadn't committed adultery. I hadn't taken drugs. I wasn't doing anything. I'm not. So eventually I just said to my husband, I can't do this anymore. I can't continue going where I feel like this outcast. It's not encouraging. It's not enjoyable. And so he was like, okay, don't worry about it. Like, you stay home. The girls and I'll still go. I understand. He's like, I understand. So they kept going for a while, but although it's like people were still going up to them going, how's your mom? Like this pity party. Is your mom doing okay? They don't really care how I'm doing. They just want the inside gossip, right? So after a while, like, I was still driving my kids to the service group so they could go and service, you know, if I was working or whatever. And eventually they were just like, I don't want to do this anymore either, Mom. They weren't enjoying it. And seeing me treated that way, it was like, no, we're done too. So Jay and the girls, we all stopped going to the meeting. And I told my mom about the public marking talk. And I said to her, I love you so much, but I've been doing this my whole life for you, and I can't do it anymore. I've been doing this for you and Dad, and I just can't. It feels like I'm suffocating. And so at that point she said, okay, you're still my daughter. We love you. But I think all the while still hoping that we were going to come back, right? They always hold that hope out. Okay, well, we'll keep loving you and including you. But all the while, you're going to come back. Armageddon's coming, like, you're going to come back. Well, a few months later, Christmas was rolling around. From childhood, I had always loved those beautiful twinkly lights and the colorful ornaments and the music. I'd sing it under my breath, you know, like when you hear it at the store, the Christmas music, and then I'd have to make sure I didn't sing it in front of my family. But I the girls and I started talking, and we were like, what if we celebrated our first Christmas this year? So this is December 2020. Has COVID hit? Yes. COVID's hit. Yes. So we were like, what if we celebrate our first Christmas? The girls and I are all excited. We go to the store and buy a tree this big, this tiny little tree. But we're like, we're not ready for the big tree yet. Just get a little tree. So we put this little tree in front of the fireplace, and we get the twinkly lights and the little ornaments. And we're so excited, and we start listening to the Christmas music. And my oldest daughter loves to bake. She loves creating recipes, and that's what her whole social media is about. So Georgia makes these cute little reindeer cookies, puts them on a plate, holds the plate in front of the Christmas tree, and takes a picture and posts it on her Instagram. And the next morning, I get a text from my mother, and she said, Becky, I saw that you guys are celebrating Christmas now, and I just want you to know how sad you've made Jehovah. And from here on out, I don't want you to text, call, or visit ever again. And she said, I want you to also know that your life is going to be very hard. You've lost God's blessing. So this big long text, and she not only sent that text to me, she sent it to my oldest daughter, who was not baptized. And I think she was probably 16 or 17 at the time. So I read this message and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I text her back and I just said, Mother, I love you more than anything. I love you so much. But like, I just said to her, I am always here for you. I am always here for you. You can call me, you can text me, you can visit me anytime. If you need anything, I'm here. We were best friends. My mother and I were best friends. I'm the youngest of 7, and she had 5 boys, you know, and then my sister and myself. But we were always so close. We did everything together. We shopped together. She was there when I had my baby. She was in the room with us, you know, and just we did everything. We talked probably 100 times a day. If it wasn't calling, it was texting, it was Facebook messaging. We ran an online consignment store together, so we were always meeting up, and we would have lunch. I'd bring the girls. We were like best friends. Anyone who knows us, knows the Sturgeon family, knows us. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my mother is choosing the religion over her daughter and her grandchildren. I knew that was a possibility. I just, all of a sudden it was very real. I'm like, oh my goodness. So my mom had just spent about a year battling cancer, and I was there with her through the whole thing as much as I could, because it was also COVID. So I was there every weekend, getting their groceries, cleaning their house, bringing their supplements to them, any way I could help. It was about an 1.5-hour drive there. Every Sunday I'd go, an 1.5-hour drive back, but it was super important to me. So anyways, at this time, also because of COVID, our gym was closed. So we weren't able to have our fitness classes. So I had gone live on my Facebook page. I just did a Facebook Live. We went 3 lives a day for free. And we did this for a year. So we did our job for free for a year as a family. And we were meeting people from Belgium and Spain and Saudi Arabia, New Zealand, Australia, all over the world, the UK, Canada, United States. And we were training with all these people from around the world, and again, for free. And all these people were making incredible progress, and their bodies were changing, and they were getting healthy and falling in love with fitness. So a mentor suggested to me, said, why don't you turn that into your business? Instead of having the big in-person gym where you have to be there, you know, every day, why not pivot? And I was like, yes, I like where this is going. And so we started charging finally a year later. And so it'll be 3 years for us that we've been doing our online coaching in March next month. Wow, that's crazy. So then the thought was, okay, so we've just lost my parents, my siblings, my nieces, my nephews, our entire community, all our friends. Not that I was disfellowshipped, but I guess everybody just jumped to that conclusion or something. So, and now our business, we could do it from our phone. So it was Christmas time, December 2020, where we said as a family, okay, we have a kind of a cool opportunity here to start over. And if we could start over, where should we do it? And we had been to Hawaii once as a family, and we all just said Hawaii. So we then proceeded to sell every single thing we owned, clothing, furniture, toys, books, everything, you name it. We started doing a dump trip a week. So every week I would fill my truck and I would go to the dump with things that were just not, worth selling. I took all our watchtowers, our awakes, our Bibles, our books, boxes of them, all our bound volumes to the dump. Got rid of them. We had a fireplace at the time, so we were using some of them to heat our house, which felt really good.
Where were you living?
Alliston, Ontario, Canada, so just north of Toronto. We had lived in that town for 17 years and in that same province my whole life. So we had then put our house up for sale, and we sold the house, and we each had one suitcase that we could bring with us to Hawaii. So it had our clothing. I kept a few photo albums, some little mementos, and that was it. We sold the cars, the trucks, the gym, the fitness equipment, everything was gone. And we took our suitcase, got on an airplane, and moved to Oahu, where we spent 6 months. And while we were there, my husband ended up getting a call about a job opportunity in Vancouver. So we had been in Oahu for 3 months, and he gets this job opportunity, and he'd always wanted to be back in BC. He'd spent some time there when he was young. And so he's like, babe, would it be okay with you if I were to go to Vancouver for a bit? Would you and the girls be okay? We're like, yes, we'd be great. We'll be fine. So he went back to Vancouver, and we stayed in Oahu, and then we joined him for the summer in Vancouver. And now we're on the big island of Hawaii. Beautiful, amazing. Our church now is the beach, the ocean, going to the sunset every evening, watching the whales, not being trapped in a kingdom hall, sitting there listening to the same stuff over and over, elders meetings. I never have to worry about another elders meeting in my life. And I have been able to prevent my daughters from ever having to go through that as well. We celebrate birthdays now. We celebrate Halloween. We have, oh my gosh, Jay and I are going out for our very first Valentine's dinner tomorrow night. So we're so excited. We booked reservations. We're going to get dressed up, and we're going to go out for our first Valentine's. My daughter Daisy has got her first tattoo. So she got the word Ohana, which means family in Hawaiian. She's got Ohana tattooed on her wrist. We went to our very first yoga classes, which we've never been able to do until being here in Hawaii. And if I could explain this location where we do yoga, it's out of a movie. I can't even believe it. I can't even pinch myself. I can't even believe our life now. Yes, we had to sacrifice a whole lot to get here. Most people don't even understand how much we've had to go through the journey to get here. But if I can tell any Jehovah's Witness watching or exjw how incredible your life can be on the other side. You don't have to believe when they tell you your life is going to be hard and that you're going to lose God's blessing. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. We as a family have never felt more blessed. We don't argue anymore. We don't stress over having to be at a meeting at a certain time or being studied or at a convention, or we actually travel. We enjoy life. We have downtime. Our Saturday and Sunday mornings now are spent in bed, sipping coffee. The 5 of us all hang out on our bed, and we laugh and we talk. And we talk about our goals for the future and our desires for travel and seeing the world and meeting new people. And life is good. It's not all about doom and gloom, and it's amazing.
Becky, you have made me so excited. We're 11 hours difference. You know, I'm in Sweden right now, and I don't know if I can go to sleep right now because you have so much energy. So thank you. You felt like drinking a big glass of coffee.
Yay.
I love your enthusiasm, and I could not agree with you more. Life on the other side is just so beautiful, and your journey from moving from Canada, which I was going to guess, but I didn't want to assume, from Canada all the way to Hawaii, and what a beautiful way of moving, just telling each kid they can only have a suitcase, which made life so much easier. I moved from the States to Europe, and I was the same way. I had a suitcase and a backpack. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and selling everything. It's so refreshing and renewing, especially after losing everything that you had. And I think you did have still have your immediate family. So that was a huge thing. How old were your girls when you decided? So this was 2020. How old were your girls when you
Yeah.
moved?
I think Georgia, they're about 17, 14, 11-ish when we moved, and they were so excited. Like there was 0, 0, 0, like, Mom, no, Dad, I can't, nothing, none. And oh, I have to get rid of this or that. None. There was none. And you know, it's time when you're all on the same page and you're all like, let's go. It was exciting, this whole new adventure before us. Oh, so exciting. And it's kind of like we're going to go back to Vancouver for the summer with Jay again. This lifestyle we're living right now, it's like we don't really know where we'll be in 6 months or a year from now. Who knows where we'll be? But we know, like I was thinking about this last night. I know what we've survived. I know what we've been through. And I forgot to mention, I should mention this. September that just passed, so September 2022, I got a call from my brother, one of my older brothers. And he said, I just want to let you know that Mom is passing away. Mom's about to, die. And he said, so if you want to say goodbye, we'll hold the phone up to her ear. So they did. I called and they held the phone up to her ear. It was very awkward. And I'm thinking it's because she's passing away. Like maybe she's in pain or on certain drugs. And I just kept saying, Mom, I love you so much. And it's time to rest. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just because, she's passing away that it was a little bit awkward. Well, my oldest brother during this time ends up leaving the religion as well. So him and his wife, he's 21 years older than me. So he leaves the religion a little bit after me. Again, not disfellowshipped, but he got on a plane and flew back to say goodbye to my mom before she passed. So they get on a plane, him and his wife. They get to the hospital and goes in, kisses my mom. Mom, I love you so much. She's in a hospice at this point. And my mother is not really responding. It's very awkward. So he's telling me this after I told him my story. I was like, it felt a little bit awkward, but it's probably the drugs. So he actually is in the room with her, but she's not really responsive. She's kind of like looking off at a distance, fiddling with the TV remote. And so he goes, Mom, maybe we'll just give you some time and we'll come back in a bit. And she looks at him and he looks at her and he goes, unless you don't want us to come back. And she said, yeah, I don't think it would be good if you came back. She says, I feel that it will be offensive to Jehovah. It'll offend Jehovah. So it's best if you don't come back. So now he's waiting outside. They've flown all the way there. And he's now waiting outside the closed doors to my mom's room, but he can see in through the little window at all my siblings still surrounding her as she passes away. And yeah, so after he told me that, I was like, wow, she really stuck to her faith right till the end, crazy. But anyway, so my mom passed away in September, and you said I'm very able to speak out about this, and I'm not shy about it or scared to talk about it. I'm not, because I have nothing left to lose. The witnesses have already separated our family. I don't have any, I have zero interest in going back. So I'm very, very comfortable speaking out about this. And when certain people close to me feel comfortable enough to speak out, I can't wait because there's some things I'm holding back until they're ready that are mind blowing. And one of the hugest reasons I'm speaking out. So it's not for me. A lot of people say, Becky, you seem like you're in a good place. You know, you should stop talking about it. If you're healed, a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses will comment on our videos and be like, you must really need attention, or you must really, you know, you're still hurting, or you must still miss Jehovah for the fact that you're, no, honey, no. I speak out because there's so many people who can't. They're too afraid to speak out. And they say, stop talking about it. I'm like, I'm just getting started. So watch me. So yeah, the reason I'm speaking out is for a lot of people who can't. And one person in particular that's very close to me, that's not ready to share their story yet. But when they're ready,
Wow, I hear you loud and clear. I feel like this is the reason why I'm doing this channel. One of the many reasons is because there's so many, I would say about 90, maybe more than 90% of the people would never dare to share their story.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, as you know, still hold on to that bitterness and that anger, and they're
Yeah.
stuck in that.
Yeah.
And it's a choice to stick there, and it's a choice to then be in your place where you are filled with so much good energy. And it's kind
Yeah.
of sad that the witnesses look at you and they're like, "Oh, you must miss Jehovah, yada yada yada." It's just predispositioned ideas that they've already put in our head, but they're still in that world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm curious, your brother that's disfellowshipped or left the organization, has he visited you in Hawaii, and what is your relationship like with him?
So yeah, we talk through Messenger all the time, and he is very vocal now too in speaking out about this. He and his wife and their daughters. So their daughters are only 3 and 5 years younger than me. So we're all speaking out now. And he hasn't come to Hawaii yet. He's in California right now. But I don't know how much of his story he will share, but I will say when he left, he was hired by Jehovah's Witnesses, and they fired him when he stopped going to meetings, when he stopped going, when he just said, I don't want to be a witness anymore, they fired him. So he's got lawyers going into this, like, you can't do that. You can't fire someone over religious differences. So we're working, our family's working at this. This is the end of the line for our, you know, it's been passed down generation after generation. We're ending that. Goodbye to that cycle. So.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Becky, for sharing your story. Is there anything that you feel like you missed that you want to add in this video?
Just the one thing I would say to other exjws or JWs living in fear of speaking out, or, you know, you think your life is over. First of all, stop watching the news so much. Stop watching the news. I feel Jehovah's Witnesses are glued to the news because they're looking for signs that Armageddon's coming. And they're just like, talk about manifesting. Talk about, like, I believe in manifesting. But if your whole life is spent worried about Armageddon and worried about displeasing Jehovah and Satan and the demons, like, how enjoyable is your life going to be? And it makes so much sense now. So start focusing on using the pain, using the struggle that you've been through, flip it and use it as fuel to create your best life ever. They say that the best life ever is as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Honey, you have no clue how good life can be. So flip it, use that pain for fuel. Don't let it put you out. Use it for fuel and start focusing. I have an idea. I have a book written that I just need to find the right person to help me with the next step. So I have a book written, and it's about creating your best life ever, unbecoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and almost like a challenge book. Like, okay, and not in any order, because every one of us who leaves the religion will feel ready at a different time, but a list of all the ways to make your life actually enjoyable and amazing outside. Okay, you're going to celebrate your first Thanksgiving, and I want you to check it off, and I want you to tell me what you felt. How amazing was your first Thanksgiving? Who did you celebrate it with? And then giving a little bit of story on our first Thanksgiving, our first Christmas, celebrating your first birthday, going to your first yoga class, getting a tattoo if you want, growing a beard, men growing your hair out, all these different little things that are different for each one of us. You know, it could be Valentine's, it could be going to a fortune teller, reading your horoscope. There's so many things that will speak to each one of us. So that's what I'm in the works of right now. Unbecoming one of Jehovah's Witnesses and creating your actual best life ever.
Oh, wow. I'm blown away. I would be like, if I owned a publishing company, I'd be on you right now. That sounds like such an incredible idea, Becky. I absolutely love it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again for sharing.
Thank you for having me, Vivian.
Thank you for watching this interview with Becky, and until next time.